Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport CEO here on BongoPlanes, where we are continuing with our replica of Copenhagen Airport. Since last time I have been working a little bit on the entrance building towards Terminal 3. I've changed the shape a little bit. I wasn't quite so happy with it, how it turned out last time, so I fixed that off camera. But today our main focus will be on Terminal 2, and we will get started with that right after the drop. As always, before we get too far into today's video, if you should end up enjoying this episode of Airport CEO, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. Now, the first thing I would like to look into here in this episode is Terminal 2, and specifically the exterior of Terminal 2, so the land side. Now, if we take a quick look at some satellite images, what we can see here is we have a fairly simple terminal building. We have the usual drop-off zones just in front of that, and then we have some parking garages. So nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing we haven't seen with so many airports around the world. Now, the one thing I noticed here is these arches or roof constructions that are kind of connecting the terminal building with the parking garages. Now, they are just literally some roof constructions that enable you to walk from the parking garage towards the terminal somewhat dry in case it should be raining. But I was thinking, I kind of liked the look of that when we are looking at it from above. So I was thinking, what if we, instead of having that just to be a roof construction, why don't we make this like a passerelle where people can walk from our parking lots, because we can't build parking garages, and then towards Terminal 2. So I haven't really tried building this before in the game, so yeah, it's a little bit of an experiment, but I think it could look really cool if we manage to pull it off correctly. So the normal thing I would do here is, when I have these multiple lanes with drop-off zones, is then to connect those with pedestrian crossings, so that passengers, when they exit the bus, taxi or car, can walk towards the terminal. In this case, instead of doing that, because we want to force people to use these passerelles, so instead of adding any of these pedestrian crossings, we will have this type of building going across the streets, and then we need to work out how we want people to access these passerelles. Obviously, I guess normally you would have both stairs and an elevator. I think in this case you will probably just go for only elevator, just because it's easier and will save us a lot of space, because we do also want to have as many pedestrian crossing. We want to have as many drop-off zones here as possible. Also, I'm not really... So this building kind of here structure is now on level 1. It's not the idea that people then are entering the terminal building on level 1, but we will actually have them go one level down again, so that they enter the terminal building on ground level. I know this might sound a little bit strange at the moment, but let's just wait and see how we manage to do this. I'm sure this could end up looking quite nice, and in any case it will be something fairly different from what we have done in the past. And sure, if you are now saying, hey, hold on, Bongo, this isn't replicating Copenhagen Airport because they don't have that at Copenhagen Airport, then yeah, technically you're right. But we are kind of replicating how it would look from above. And also, of course, we do need to make some compromises, because, for example, we don't have the ability to build parking garages. We can only build parking lots. So that's also not how it is in real life. But we have some form of parking. And of course, then we have the whole issue that this game is grid-based, which I don't mind, just so we are not having a misunderstanding here, but it is grid-based and the real world, for some reason, isn't. So yeah, this is, of course, a replica, but to some degree. We are taking as much inspiration from the real world as we can, and then trying to implement it into the game. So in this case, we are trying to replicate how it looks from above, but the functionality will be slightly different. But yeah, do you think this construction will ever work? Do you think passengers will use it, or do you think the game will just say, hell, what is this, and break? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, with that done, I think we should move on and also start working on the interior of Terminal 2, because obviously we need something in here, otherwise the airport will never be working. Now, Terminal 2 of Copenhagen Airport is actually fairly old, and the whole infrastructure and the way it is designed does reflect that. In fact, the basis of what is now known as Terminal 2 was opened in May 1960, so the design the whole terminal was structured on is like from back in the 1950s. Obviously, the terminal itself has since then been upgraded and renovated many times, but of course the basic structure of how things are placed is from back when the building was first built. So the basic structure of the building and how it operates today, at least, is that you're entering the building from the ground floor level and then are coming into a fairly large, or at least fairly long, hall. Right in front of you, you would then find the check-in areas, which are only separated by a few stairs that are leading you upstairs to level 1, where you would have to go so you could go towards Terminal 3, where you have like a central area for the security checks. So that's basically also what we will be trying to do here. The goal is also to have it obviously not so narrow that the airport doesn't work, but it should feel a bit cramped, because that's how it is in real life. One thing that we will also be facing here is the challenge that in real life Terminals 2 and 3 do share quite a few of the same facilities. So for example, as I mentioned, there's like a central area where you have all the security checks, from where you're then either staying in Terminal 3 or walking back to Terminal 2. Now, we could also do that because we don't have to zone our buildings into different terminals, but I would like to do that because it does also have some advantages here in the game to do that, because you get more control over the individual areas and can see where you have some things maybe not working ideally. So yeah, that's something we definitely will be looking into doing, but that of course leaves us then with the issue we can't really have a central security check that just works for all terminals, because the game won't recognize that. If we are not zoning the security zone inside a terminal, it won't recognize the security checks as being part of that terminal, which could lead to some other issues down the line. So I will build this central area, which also actually will lead into a central area for the baggage reclaim, but we need to make sure that we work out how we place these things so that we can separate them, even if it's just by like one tile, so that we can have the different terminals zoned out, because as soon as a terminal section connects with another terminal, it becomes one terminal. Yeah, don't worry, we will work it out, and hopefully it will all work. I'm actually not so worried about how it will work with the security zones or with the security checks, because I think that should be fairly simple. We just place security checks that are zoned in Terminal 2, leave one tile space, and then the others are zoned in Terminal 3. I'm a little bit more curious how it will work with the baggage reclaim, because as far as I know, there isn't really a security exit in the real airport from Terminal 3. I do believe that all people kind of go to like a central point in Terminal 2, where they then go downstairs towards the reclaim area, and that's what we will be doing here as well. And I'm not quite sure how the game will like that. Perhaps we need to work out some things there, but I'm getting ahead of myself because that's something for future episodes. Right now we're of course focusing here on the entrance to Terminal 2, on the check-in area, and getting that right, and trying at least to build towards where then passengers would be walking to the security checks. So yeah, I'm right now placing down the security checks, and I'm using the large ones because yeah, I don't really see a point in using any of the smaller ones. This will probably be a quite busy area of the airport, so yeah, we should just go for maximum capacity here. What we also should do is actually zone out the terminals for now, I have actually zoned out a little area towards the right side, so that it's named Terminal 1, and this can now be named Terminal 2, because if I had started zoning this out, this would be named Terminal 1, and I would like to have the real terminology here, like at the real Copenhagen airport. It's not important, but yeah, it's just for my sake. Anyway, so yeah, the important part here is, of course, that we leave at least one tile space between the terminal zonings, because otherwise what will become Terminal 3 here would turn into Terminal 2, which is, of course, not what we would like to have. So one tile space between these two terminal zonings, and then we quickly zone out also Terminal 3, and then we return here to our build in Terminal 2. So the airport is zoned out. What we will be working on now is a little bit the area right after security. Now, in real life in Copenhagen, you are kind of forced through a shop from where you can then go towards your gates. There is actually also, I think, a path that leads you around that shop, but you have to know where it is, and I think it's not well signed out, because obviously they want you to go through the shop. We could also make a separate path here, but well, I can't believe that I resort to these tactics, but yeah, we will force our passengers to walk through a shop, because it means a revenue for us. And then, of course, we also use pretty much every available space here in the terminal for shops, because that's how they do it in Copenhagen Airport in real life. This is one of the reasons why I really do not like the airport in real life, because for me it's a shopping hell. It's crammed, people walking across each other, and it's a mess. But we try to replicate it. There will be some areas where it's really cramped, but again, this is also kind of how it is in real life. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to getting some passengers in here to see how these bottlenecks that we kind of create here on purpose, how they will impact the overall performance of the airport, which we of course also need to take a little bit of a look on, because when we will be starting to sign airlines, obviously the rating does play a role in how well we will be doing in signing contracts with airlines, and what airlines we can sign depending on what ratings they require. So yeah, we might shoot ourselves a little bit here in the foot, but well, that's just how it is, I guess. We do, of course, then also need to start thinking about how we want to build our luggage distribution system. So with the baggage bays, where do we want to place them exactly? How can we place them here with the structures that we have constructed? But that's something for next episode. So with that, I think it is the perfect time to end today's video. If you have enjoyed it, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? And of course, any feedback is, as always, very much appreciated. Just leave it in the comment section below. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.